You're first again. I think you're the first chatter. That is true. It's a lot of firsts, man. It's the first time that I'm doing this show on Twitch only. This show originally started as a YouTube podcast, and then just couldn't get any traction. So I put it on Restream, and not getting any real traction on YouTube. So what I'm doing is I'm doing this. I'm pushing this out on Twitch only so that I can load it up to YouTube and maybe get some traction. And then hopefully, if all things go well, I'll be able to hire an editor who can edit out these podcasts and turn them into something shorter. Because I know not everybody is going to want to sit there and hear about, you know, a 2-hour, sometimes 2.5 hour podcast. They might just want to get to the meat. But we got to give people a chance to adapt and choose to adapt to change. Speaking of change, this has been a week of change for me. I started teaching again this week, and it's been a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun doing it. It's rough though. It's rough, right? It's like Rough Riders. Hard to do because fall out of practice. You fall out of practice with teaching, and all the things that you normally have like earmarked, tabbed in your instructor's manual. I don't have an instructor's manual. I'm doing this. I'm doing this as I go. So it's been a rough week. I'm not gonna lie. It's been a very difficult week. Very, very difficult getting up early this morning. Up and out the door. But it was good. It felt good. It felt good to get up, go out the door. Talked about change, and I was like, you know what? Even today's, I'm hoping Grumpy Old Man shows up because he wanted to talk about. Maybe it wasn't Grumpy Old Man. Maybe it was Sparky. Somebody wanted to talk about the 5th Mission Support Group, and I've got that kind of queued up to talk about. It seems like every about 10 years, the Air Force forgets that it handles nuclear weapons, and they forget how to handle nuclear weapons, and then a bunch of people get fired. And it's so stupid because the manuals are pretty emphatically clear on handling nuclear weapon material and nuclear-related weapon material. Nuclear weapon, NWRM, nuclear weapon-related material. So it's so stupid to me. It's just indicative of process change. Nobody wants to have the hard job. And I get that. Nobody wants to have the hard job. But sometimes you gotta just dig in with that and say, you know what? I gotta adapt. So yeah, it's kind of weird too. I've noticed a lot of people forget to celebrate their success. You change, you make a choice, you improve yourself, and then you have a relapse, and people beat themselves up when they relapse. I don't like the word relapse. I don't like the word relapse because relapse has such a horrible connotation. Relapse gets a bad rap. Relapse, I say the word relapse, you start thinking about drugs, or you think alcohol. And the problem is that you can relapse on anything. You can relapse on your workout. Most people do. Most people, first of the year, they get the gym membership, they go 3 or 4 times, and then they relapse to being lazy. But see, we don't call it a relapse to being lazy because we want to reserve the word relapse for drugs and alcohol and abuse and self-destructive behavior. But, you know, it's like the other day, I usually only have 4 cookies a day. Other day I had 7. I was busy, I was working, I was excited, I had the manuals, and I was working, and I wasn't paying attention, and I started eating a bunch of cookies. Didn't beat myself up for it, didn't punish myself, didn't get angry. I said, you know what do we got to do to make a change? What do we got to do to make this work? What do we got to do to make this right? And so that's what I did. I looked at the situation and I said, tomorrow I'm going to have 4 cookies again. A lot of people say, well, if you had 7 one day, you should only have 1 the next day. No, it's punishing yourself. What's your goal? What's your ideal state? What's the accomplishment? If my accomplishment is to eat 4 cookies a day, then eat 4 cookies a day. Don't turn around and say, well, tomorrow you can only have one, because that's what's left. Because then you start to get into this borrowing. You get into this horrible habit of borrowing time, borrowing money, and you should always borrow money from yourself if you can. But it's like, the end of last week's show, we were talking about the change you need to make to your budget, the change you need to make to your finances. Should be saving 40%. Four out of every $10 you make should be going in the bank. And that's hard. And a lot of people are like, well, if I just cheat this month, I'll pay myself back next month. No, you don't get to do that. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Otherwise, all you're ever doing is negotiating with yourself. You don't want to live like that. You don't want to do that. It's just like the people who say, I'm going to go on vacation, but I'm going to stay on my diet. No, you're not. And why are you going on vacation if you're going to stay on your diet? You diet so that you can go on vacation, feel good about yourself, and then come back from vacation and get back on the diet. Don't be on a diet while you're on vacation, unless you're diabetic, unless you have dietary requirement. Then obviously those are the singletons. Those are the exceptions, not the rule. But don't be on vacation on a diet. It's going to suck. It's going to be horrible. Looking around the world right now, it's kind of like this planet needs a whole lot of change and a whole lot of hurry, and that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about change, we're talking about choice, and we're talking about change. Choice and change. It's kind of like choice and change, and then I hate when people turn around. Everybody's always on a diet. Well, yes, everybody is always on a diet, but not a diet. Not the catchphrase, a diet. Whatever you eat is your diet. Big thing here is I constantly hear people say force. I hate the word force. I hate the word. He forced me. No. There is force is an illusion. Force is an absolute illusion that people fall victim to. There's always a choice in force. There's always a choice. There's always a choice in force. And what I mean by that is you can cause things to happen to another individual, but you can't force that individual to do things you don't want them to do. You can force bad things onto somebody. I can drive my car into you. I can't force you to get into a car accident. I can hit you with my car, but I can't force you to hit the car in front of you. If you hit the car in front of you and the chain reaction, it's my fault I hit you, but it's your fault you hit the guy in front of you. You didn't leave enough space. You didn't leave enough braking distance. You didn't do whatever you needed to do. I get a lot of people caught up in the whole force. She made me. He made me. They made me. My boss made me. He forced me. No, he didn't. No, I mean, he literally tied me up while I was fighting him and pushed me into the truck bed. Okay, that was force. Right, but you notice, see, that's why I said somebody can do bad things to you. And you're absolutely right. Somebody can do bad things to you. Somebody can physically tie you up. But when they say he forced me into the truck bed, no. Did he tie you up and throw you in the truck bed? Yeah, well then he didn't force you to do anything. He didn't force you to do it. It's like he forced me to get into the car. How? He had a gun. Okay? You still chose to do it. You chose, and it's you made the decision between two really shitty choices. I didn't want to get into the car. I also didn't want to get shot. I chose the lesser of the two evils. But when they say he forced you, no, he didn't force you. He gave you a choice. You chose the more desirable of two bad decisions. And a lot of that is taking back the empowerment of it's taking back the I statement. Taking back the power behind the I statement. What's up, Tipsy Juice Box? Taking back the power of the I statement. I am the master of my fate. I am the commander of my soul. I am this ship's captain. I decide where it goes. You know what I'm saying? And I voice privacy. What I get is I understand that for a lot of people, they can't make that choice. I get it. They can't make that. They're caught up in the idea that there's not really a choice. right? They're caught up in the idea that there's not really a choice. I understand. I really do. It's a shitty situation, right? It's a shitty alternative. But you have to realize it is an alternative. What's going on with the music? The music died, man. It's the day the music died. Unfortunately, my phone was still connected to my headset. Fraught with technical issues. Okay. Now that's working. Now I gotta make this one work. I do apologize. Like I said, I made a couple of changes. I'm only streaming to Twitch now, and I'll upload the video to YouTube later. There we go. Now I can hear it. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. If you don't get in the truck, I will kill you. Well, you do what you gotta do, but I'm not getting in the fucking truck. I usually, when I teach this lesson, I usually do the jump off the roof. The jump off the roof example. I take you up to the roof of a building. I have a gun. I tell you to jump. You tell me no. I say, if you don't jump off the roof of the building, I'm going to shoot you. You do what you got to do. I'm not jumping. What if they push you off the roof? Well, now you've changed it. If my force is to force you to jump, if I throw you off the roof, I still didn't force you to jump. I threw you off the roof. The end result is still pretty close to the same, but it's not exactly the same. And that's the problem. See, we punish people now. For getting into the details. A pedant, a person who is excessively concerned with formalism, accuracy, and precision, or one who makes ostentatious and arrogant showing of learning. I think that when people say you're just being pedantic and you're all about the details, right? No, the devil is in the details. You want to know an organization that's all about the minutia and all about the details? Go talk to the IRS, man. The IRS is all about the details. And people see, well, you always know when somebody wants to just disengage from the argument. They're like, "Well, you're just caught up in the details." Yeah, I'm believe it or not, I'm caught up in the details. You weren't forced to do something, but you were forced. Physical force was used to change your position. Correct. But, and that's where we need to get into the nuance of it. Compel. I compel you to jump off the roof. No, I'm not going to do that. Okay, well, I'm going to throw your ass off the roof. Well, I'm still going to be dead on the sidewalk at the end of this discussion. But one of them is me committing suicide, and one of them is you committing murder. And this is where a lot of people get caught. I can't change. There is nothing about you can't change. Sure, if you lose a limb, you can't grow another limb back. So if you come up with an impossibility, sure. I can't ever walk again. Why? I lost my leg. Get a fake leg. Get crutches. Get an exoskeleton. There's lots of ways for you to accomplish what you want, but people just get so caught up in the negative self-talk, the negative I can't do. It amazes me, right? Join the Navy. They issue a peg leg in basic. It amazes me how many people I talk to that are so caught up in negative self-talk that they don't even realize it anymore. They don't even realize they're trapped. They are trapped in a prison that they created themselves. I've been out to shoot this morning, 7:00 in the morning. Boom, done. I've been going since pretty much the rooster started crowing. And people are like, "Well, I just can't do that." Why? Why can't you? Why can't you? I talked to somebody today. They said they spend over an hour a day in bed every day between the time the alarm clock goes off and the time they get up. They spend over 1 hour in bed, just laying in bed. I don't know what's up with people who do that shit, but let me help you out. Stop doing that shit. If you're not gonna get up until 7, don't set the alarm for 6. Set the alarm for 6:55. Get 55 more minutes of sleep. right? But if you sit there and you lay in bed for an hour with negative self-talk, get your ass up at 6 o'clock and get in the shower at 6:02. At least you'll have the therapeutic value of a 50-minute hot shower. Right? If you're gonna have negative self-talk, at least get in the hot shower and do it. But then things are gonna start to push you out of the way. Sit in the hot shower for an hour the first day, maybe an hour the second day, maybe an hour the third day. By about the fourth day, you're gonna say, you know what? I can get some breakfast before I go to work. Maybe then the first couple of days you pick up BK or McDonald's. Then you say, you know what? Maybe I can get up and make some money, make some breakfast and save some money. You set the alarm clock for 6:30 and you get up at 7. Your ass is making sure my son is in the shower by 6:40. Then I go back to bed to be not negative with my wife for 20 minutes. Exactly. See, my kids have never been morning showerers. My teenager, my wife always takes the younger one to school. My teenager will ping me if she needs a ride to school because it's crappy out. She'll be like, she'll usually tap my foot because of the PTSD. She'll tap my foot and she'll be like, can I get a ride? Yeah. Only thing I ask her is if it's the middle of winter and she doesn't have a friend picking her up, don't wait until 5 minutes before we need to head off. Or she'll walk out and she'll start the car herself and the car will be nice and defrosted and warm and all that. But you know that you got to teach your kids to do that. You have a choice. You got to change. This morning, I needed to be out the door. I needed to be on the road no later than 7:45 today. About 7:30, I looked out the window and I said, "Damn, my windows are frozen." It was just a weird night last night. We had a lot of moisture in the air and really cold. I went out, I started my SUV 15 minutes early, and then I said, you know what, let me pull it on the street. There's nobody around, so I just parked it in the street so the sunlight could get on the windshield. Those are all choices, man. I could choose not to do that. I could choose to run late. I could choose to I chose not to leave on time, so now I've de facto chosen to speed. Well, then when you get the ticket, you know, you're saying to the cop, it's not my fault. Oh, whose fault is it? I always find it funny when people think they're gonna make up time on the highway. Back in the 90s, when the speed limit everywhere, well, most everywhere was 55. Back in the 90s, the speed limit was 55 because that was considered safe. Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, parts of California, parts of Utah, Nevada, I don't know if I mentioned Nevada, had stretches where it was 70, legal was 70, but that was because there was nothing for you to hit. It's 97 miles till the next off-ramp, right? When it was 55 and you were speeding, you could make up some time. Now you're already going so fast, you have to speed a lot to make up any time. So when people say, oh, I'm speeding to make up time, no, you're not. You're better off leaving 5 minutes earlier, and that's going to save you more time than trying to make up 5 minutes on the highway. I've made up time on the highway. I've lived over an hour from town at 65. I saved about 7 minutes. I live over an hour from town at 65. I saved about, over the course of an hour, you say, well, you'd have to be going at 65, right? I don't think you save 7 minutes at 65 over an hour if the speed limit's 60. I don't think 5 miles an hour shaves you 7 minutes post 60. We'd have to lay out the math and do it. Oh, you were going 80. Okay, so now you're going now you're going dangerously fast. And now the problem is you got your oh shit moments, right? You're going 15 over. Oh shit. Because you better hope you're doing 15 over and not 16 over. Cop clocks, state trooper clocks you at 7 to 15. That's one ticket. 16 to 25 or 16 to 30 over. That's another ticket. In some places, 16 over is reckless driving. Some places it's not. Some states it is. Some states it's not. But you know what I'm saying? It's all about choice. I'm going to make up time because I got out of the house late. I'd rather get where I'm going and have 2 or 3 minutes to spare, crack open a bottle of tea, woo-saw myself, do some 4 square breathing, 8 square breathing, and, you know, have a minute rather than be flying in. Like, I got to where I was going today. I needed to be there at 8:45. Realistically, I needed to be there at 8:40 to get everything set up. I was there at 8:26. The rest of that time is me time. The other 14 minutes is me time. Make a tea, eat a protein bar, use the bathroom, wash my hands, because, you know, I hate when people don't wash their hands. But it is what it is. Those are all choices. Show you guys a little bit about what I was teaching this week. This is the cycle of change. And I don't have whiteboard set up. Big thing is this is one of the better cycles of change I've seen. And you'll notice in the corner, in case anybody's like, he's stealing stuff, it's Creative Commons, it's non-derivative and non-profit. That's what all those little icons mean. A lot of people forget that not everybody wants to change. Not everybody wants to change. That's a really, 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 really important part of this discussion. Not everybody wants to change. Not everyone has any intention of changing their behavior. We've done, I don't know now, this is show 13, so we've done 14 shows. We've been doing this for a while. Pretty damn clear that politicians don't want to change. Not every change is good. This is also true. Not every change is good. I thought I'd put it up. Did I not put it up last week? I thought I did. But we're gonna grab it anyway. I thought I'd put it up though. Oh, feature chat? Oh, there it is. It's in the other corner. I forgot where I put it. Not every change is good. This is correct. Not every change is good. And you got to be aware of that. I do want to remind you that not every one of your friends wants you to change for the better. But to start at the very top, pre-contemplation, no intention of changing behavior. I'm sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of being fat. I just want to be skinny. Okay? I'm sick and tired of being fat, right? Are you going to change or not? Your supervisor wants you to take a full lunch instead of a half every day. This is good for the company and not so good for me at 6.2% less pay. Okay, so I'm confused. I'm going to ask you a question. How do you make less pay? They want you to be at work for 9 hours and only get paid for 8 instead of being at work for 9 hours and getting paid for 8.5. You're gonna have to give me like 10 more words and 10 more after that. Because I don't know how it's good for the company and not good for you, because a person being on lunch should never be good for the company, because if I'm on lunch, I'm not working. If I'm on lunch, if I'm on my unpaid time, I'm not doing any work. I make less money at the end of the day because I'm taking home 8.5 hours of pay. Okay, so the problem is you make less money at the end of the day because you take home 8 hours of pay instead of 8.5. But the thing is that you should only be working for 8 hours a day and taking an hour lunch. So yeah, you're cutting your lunch short. If I'm not on the clock, I'm not working for you. And by not working for you, I'm not working for you at all. My travel time isn't done on my lunch break. I was a captain, and I was on serious mental health meds. I am not gonna bullshit you. I had to take mental health meds just to get through the duty day. And the problem was I got up about 2 hours before I had to go to work, right? To take my meds. Then I went to work, and at lunchtime, I would take my meds and go lay down for a 50-minute nap in my car. And I did this every day. Don't give a shit. I took a 50-minute nap in my car every day. One day, a lieutenant colonel is knocking on my window. You shouldn't be sleeping during the duty day. Why not? And he didn't. Well, you shouldn't. Why not? I'm on my lunch. You should do something productive. I am. I'm sleeping. Well, you should go to the gym or something. I do that at 3. And the lieutenant colonel's just looking at me. But you're not allowed to sleep during the duty day. Sir, with all due respect, show me that in the regulation. Show me anywhere in the regulations that it says I can't sleep during the duty day. Show me an AFI that says I can't sleep during the duty day. You can't, because it's not there. That's your opinion. That's your preference. That's you think I shouldn't be sleeping in the car. And he's like, well, it just looks unprofessional that you're in the parking lot sleeping. I said, so if I lived in those houses right there and I could drive home for work in 2 minutes, it would be okay? Yeah, that'd be fine. Oh, so now you're discriminating against me because I live 15 minutes off base. There's no point in me driving home 15 minutes to lay down for 30 minutes to come back for 15 minutes. It's a company policy. Florida does not have any laws for lunch adults. Yes, it does. Florida labor law requires that... oh, wait, hold on. Oh, adult employees are not entitled to any breaks under federal or state law. Oh, well then, the thing is that if... Oh, yeah, here you go. Yeah. The Department of Labor. If an employee works 8 or more consecutive hours, the employer must provide a 30-minute break and an additional 15-minute break for every additional 4 hours of consecutive work. So... yeah, if you work an 8-hour day, you must be given one 30-minute lunch. And then if you work a 12-hour day, you get a 30-minute lunch and a 15-minute break. My work policy covers it well. Any lawful request made by your supervisor should be followed. Rip your 6.2%. Except, Sir Onsington, the problem is you're looking at this from the wrong way. Yes, you're losing 6.2% pay, but if they tell you to take an hour lunch, tell them no. If they want you to take an hour lunch, tell them no. Because Florida law, the Florida Department of Labor, length of a meal period is a 15-minute break. So tell them, I wouldn't stay for 8.5 hours a day. And in this case, you're going to have to figure out what works out best for you, right? You're going to have to figure out what works best. But I would tell them no. Florida. Maybe I had the wrong state up. No, I thought I had Florida up. I did have Maryland up. Hold on. Yeah, you're right. I don't know why this popped up this way. I don't know why it came up as Florida. I would tell them, so my question is, why do they want you to take, and I would challenge my boss. I would say to my boss, why do you want me to be here for 9 hours a day? Why do you want me to be here for 9 hours a day and take an hour lunch? I'll be here for 8.5 hours a day and I'll work 8. I'm confused as to what your boss wants, because it doesn't save your company any money. If they're giving you a 30-minute unpaid lunch, I choose my headache, 6.2% isn't worth the fight. Bullshit, it's not 6.2%, man. See, the problem is you're saying it's 6.2%. It's like this. It's 52 weeks in a year. It's 5 work days in a week. is 30 minutes that you're talking about. That's 130 hours. That's 5 days. That's 5 days a year that they want you to work and be at work. And maybe I'm the weird duck, but if I'm not getting paid, I'm not working. I'm sitting in my car. I'm working a crossword puzzle. I'm playing a phone game. And when, if I'm in a position where I can vocalize this, hey, it's 30 minutes I'm not really supposed to get paid for, though, then go home. Then go the fuck home. So company policy is an hour lunch. You should have led with that. So it's not that the company wants to change, because today's is choice and change. You've been doing what a lot of people do, and you've been only taking a 30-minute lunch. You're supposed to take an hour lunch, right? You're supposed to take an hour lunch. See, I had somebody get fired for doing something similar to this. Person didn't like their work hours. The person's lunch was an hour. And so what was supposed to happen is they were supposed to work from 7:30 to 11:30. And then from 11:30 to 12:30, they were supposed to be at lunch. And then from 12:30 to 4:30, that was the second half of their shift. And their shift was specific. They were told, you are on a specific set schedule. You're here at 7:30 in the morning and you work till 11:30. And then from 11:30 to 12:30, you're on lunch. And from 12:30 to 4:30, you're here. So it was 4, lunch, 4. Well, they didn't like the idea of being at work till 4:30. So they started just taking a 30-minute lunch and then leaving at 4. They got written up for it. They got corrected. They didn't change the behavior. Because to pop back over here, right? They didn't change the behavior because they said no intention of changing the behavior. I'm in the pre-contemplation phase. Then they got written up. They're aware of the problem, but no commitment to action. So what ended up happening? They got fired. They didn't think it was a big deal. The company that the place they worked for thought it was a big deal because every day there were people between 4 and 4:30 trying to do financial things, and the Bussar wasn't there, right? And that's a problem. In your case, it's weird as fuck because I don't know why they want you there and they want you taking an hour lunch. But if it's an unpaid lunch, I would go back to, like, if it's company policy and I don't want to do it, I'd ask for an exemption of policy. Be like, look, I don't want to be here for 9 hours a day. I'd rather be here for 8.5 hours a day. See, because but you guys know me, I'm an entrepreneur. I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always had side hustles. I've always had side things going on. I don't want to be on an hour unpaid lunch in the middle of my window of time I've carved out for you. I want that 30 minutes back. I want that 30 minutes back because at the end of the year, that's almost 6 days. That's almost 6 full days. I don't want to waste that time. I know it doesn't seem like a lot there, but every 2 days is an hour, right? Every 2 days is 1 hour. I don't want to waste. Time is money, and you're short on both. So really, if it's not a big deal to you, right? My jobs are per job. They care more about coverage and they care more about the metrics. They don't want to share more of the pie than they have to. Right. And that's the big problem. They care about having coverage because I'm pretty certain now from the way you're detailing it out, they want you to take an hour lunch, but they don't want to give an hour uninterrupted lunch. If you're on lunch, turn your radio off. Don't answer your phone. Where were you? I go to lunch from 11 to 12. Well, we need to be in touch with you. Then I'm not on lunch. If you're going to bother me while I'm on lunch, then I'm going to not be on lunch. Most of the time, I'd rather leave an hour early and skip lunch than take an hour and go back to work. Right, and this happened to me in the military. I was in a position that was one deep. You never want to be in a military position that's one deep. Because what happens is you're on duty 24 hours a day. Because you're one deep means you are literally the only person who can do X, Y, or Z. So I was in a position that was one deep. And I went on leave. And I'm on leave and I got a phone. My phone was ringing. My personal phone. I don't answer my personal phone. If I don't know the number, I don't answer the personal phone. I checked my voicemail the next morning. And I checked my voicemail and I had like 30 missed calls from different places around the world that were supposed to call me. And I returned all the calls, and the very first thing I said was, how'd you get my personal number? We got it from XYZ. We got it from ABC. And they were all the same. It was the same office. So the first thing I did is I called my boss and I said, I'm going to fly to Virginia because we need to have a sit down with this group of people, and we're going to have a sit down with them. And I feel I need to come out there and do this. When I got there, I said, you are never to give my personal cell phone number out to anybody, ever, because you only have it because it's on the recall roster. You call me, you don't give my number out. Well, we don't have the answer. I don't give a shit. This is my personal cell phone number. Well, you weren't answering your phone. I don't have my duty phone because, surprise, surprise, I'm on leave. Well, you need to be available. E7 looking at me. You need to be available. I've got my 06 next to me. I'm in 03. I'm the deputy director. Who the fuck are you talking to? Do you like being in E7? Because you're real quick about to be in E6. Kind of gives me, what do you mean? I don't have to be available when I'm on leave. The only person who can call me back from leave is the colonel. If she calls me, I come back to work. So the colonel said to me, how often does this happen to you? I said, it happens to me every time I'm on leave, every single time. I never get to enjoy leave with my family because this always happens. So we set up a new policy. If I got even one phone call when I was on leave, I send in a memo to my boss and I get the day of leave back. I think I took 45 days of leave and I got charged for like 15 of them because I was in a one deep position and I couldn't do anything. I couldn't be at Disney because my phone would be ringing. This is the shit that I'm talking about. People need to change. Processes need to change. But you need to stand up for yourself. You need to say to your boss, you don't really care about me, you care about the metrics. Or you have to acknowledge that they don't care about you, and you need to figure out what the next move for you is. Is it about the money for you? It seemed at first it was like the money for you. And then it was like the time for you. And then it was, you don't really want to fight and buck the system because you know it's not going to change. And you were like, but it's not that much. No, it's 5 fucking days a year. Let's just make sure we're doing the math right. So there's 52 weeks in a year. There's 5 work days in a week. So that's 260 days. And half an hour a day equals 130 hours a year. And we divide that by 24, 5.4 days a year. You're spending 5.4 more days a year at your job than you have to. If you're willing to do a 30-minute lunch, just say to your boss, hey, state of Florida doesn't have any mandatories for lunch. I'd rather just take a 30-minute lunch. But then they're going to say, but then that doesn't work for us because your last call, you'll have dead time at the end. Okay, well then pay me 30 minutes of overtime and I'll pick up another ticket. I'll pick up another call out. Oh, we can't do that. Oh, you're a multi-billion-dollar business and I can't get 2.5 hours of OT a week? Then you'll really see what you're worth. See, my problem is, and you guys know I've covered this on the show. If you know what you're worth, then go out and get what you're worth. You're good with strategy. I roll a d6, and when it lands on 1, I cut my lunch. This was statistically random. You guys know I have a billable hour rate. For my business, I charge freelance about $41 an hour for most things. I got asked to start an educational subsidiary of PGN. I got asked to start an educational services business, and I have. I always do this thing where I don't blink first. If you guys don't know what that means, I don't blink first. What I do is I take this piece of paper here. We're talking about hourly rate, right? So what I do is I take this, I write a dollar amount on it, and I fold that up. I put that on the table. I look at them and I say, what are you offering? Well, why don't you tell us what your requirements are? I said, my requirements are written on this piece of paper. These are my requirements. But I'm not going to tell you what those are. I'm going to say to you, what am I worth to you? You have my pedigree, you have my degrees, you have my profile, my resume, my background, my accolades, my letters of recommendation. You have my results on your little employment quiz. What am I worth to you? And they're like, well, tell us. No, I'm not going to tell you what I want. Fine, what I want is $700,000 a year. Are you going to give that to me? No, it's unrealistic. Great. Now give me your counter offer then. No, just give me your offer. The person that I'm working for, I did my routine. I took my number. I wrote it on the table. They said, well, here's what I'm going to do. And they wrote a number on a piece of paper. They slid it across. And this is what I did. I looked at theirs. I picked mine up. I put it in my pocket. I said, I'll take yours. And they laughed. They said, what's on your paper? I said, nope, not going to tell you what's on my paper. I'm going to take yours. On my paper, I had 45 written. Theirs was substantially higher than that. And the trick is, why would I tip my hand to you? Why would I want to tell you what my minimum is? And we've talked about this on the show. And if you're new to the show, say hi, new to the show people. Because some of you are like, some of you are probably like, I feel like I missed some stuff. And you did, because we talk about things all the time. You should never be walking into a job without knowing, number one, what your minimum is, not the minimum wage. And I apologize, I'm touching my face a lot. I have a slight, I'm having a slight allergic reaction. So sorry I'm touching my face so much. I'm cognizant of it. You shouldn't be walking into a job interview without knowing what your minimum wage is. Your minimum wage, not the minimum wage. Because like I said, in my town, in my hometown, you need about $1,300 a month plus whatever you want to save. So call that we'll do so you need about $1,300 a month to live in my town. You need about $520 to for savings. So you need to be bringing home about $1,820 a month. And if I do real quick, I do the math. I'm going to do 1820 divided by 160. You need to be making about $11.37 plus about $13 an hour. You can live very, very well in my hometown for about $13 an hour, as long as you're getting full-time hours. Do you think you can live in New York City, LA, Chicago, Atlanta, in the city for $13 an hour? And the answer is no, you can't. Right? You can't live on 13 in the major areas. You can't live 25 minutes from here for $13 $13 an hour. But if you live in this small little German farming town, nice little apartment, you can get it. When I say this, some of you are going to be like, are you serious? You can get a 2-bedroom apartment for $750 here. And I'm talking a nice, spacious 2-bedroom apartment. 2-bedroom apartment, full bathtub with a shower, in-unit washer and dryer, a huge living room, a full kitchen, not a kitchenette, full kitchen. Hey, have fun at work. Oh, I guess you were just done with your lunch break, right? But yeah, full kitchen, full fridge, not like a little mini fridge, not a fridge bar, not like just a range top, full oven, microwave, all that. $750. That's pretty reasonable. But I still hear people complaining, I can't make ends meet. Well, why? Well, because I want to be able to, like, some friends of ours were and I hate when people are jealous, because if people keep acting jealous, then eventually I just stop telling those people what we're up to. Like, we got criticized because we went to Distant Worlds, the Final Fantasy Orchestra. It wasn't even that expensive, but comparatively, it was pretty expensive. It was like $240 plus, say, 60 for dinner. So it's like $300 for a night out. That's kind of expensive. It's not like we rock Distant Worlds all the time, but we got criticized by people and they're like, I can't believe you wasted the money. I don't think it was a waste of money. I don't think it was a waste of money at all. I think it was an amazing experience. My daughter really loved it. Gizmo's a Final Fantasy player, so it was amazing for her to see the old videos and up on the screen. Yeah, but then the other piece of that comes down to, it's also my money to waste. So if I'm wasting the money, right? If I'm wasting the money, it's my money to waste. It's like, I love all of my children. There's no but here. I love all of my children. With that said, my children often, my older children, my adult children, oftentimes are looking for more money than I'm giving. That's not your money. That's dad's money. That's my money to dole out when I choose to dole it out. If I choose to dole out money to you, right? I made that choice. Today's choice and change. I still dole out equal amounts of money to every kid, even the kids that don't need it. Now, some of them say, well, you don't need to give it to me. I said, well, no, it's yours. That's from dad to you. If you want to give it to your sister, you want to give it to your niece and nephew, you wanted to give it to who, that's your choice. But I give it to you. Once I give it to you, you do what you want with it. Because that way, I don't want to come 5 years, 10 years down the road, I don't want to hear from my kids, well, you always gave them and not me. Well, no, I give to my kids equally. Now, if the kids have needs, right, I take care of their needs the best I can. I'm buying a house. Good for you. Happy for you. Oh, you were expecting a check? I'm sorry. If you're adult enough that you're buying a house, you don't need me anymore, right? Right? Some of the hardest lessons is getting your kids to stand on their own 2 feet. I could buy all my kids a house. I could buy all my kids houses. Right? It would probably deplete me. It'd make me pretty broke. In fact, if I bought every kid a house, I'd be broke. I'd have no savings. I'm not gonna do that. It's not my job. Are you married? Yeah. It's you and your spouse. That's you and your husband's job. Right? Go back over here to Procheska and Di Clemente. A lot of you say, I've got a problem in my life, but you won't move off pre-contemplation. I want to change. All right. What do you want to change about yourself? Okay, I'm aware there's a problem, but I won't commit to change. Okay, and then I'm gonna change. And then I'm changing. But then when people get to the changing, how often do people fail to maintain the change? I'm very happy that you went to the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Wednesday, skipped Friday, didn't go Monday, went Wednesday, didn't go Friday, Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, and then you haven't been back to the gym since. You didn't really want to change. Other people got in your head. You should go to the gym. Why? Because you're fat. Well, if you don't feel fat, don't go to the gym. Right? If you don't feel fat, don't go to the gym. I want to talk about this Air Force fires its leaders thing. I was hoping that the person who wanted this talked about would be here, but sometimes, we don't get what we want. Exclusive. U.S. Air Force fires leaders for failing nuclear safety inspection. 2 U.S. Air Force commanders and 4 of their subordinates at a key nuclear base in North Dakota were relieved of duty this week after their units failed an inspection designed to ensure that nuclear weapon stockpile is safe and secure at all times, 2 defense officials told CNN. The removals occurred at Minot Air Force Base, which is the only Air Force installation that houses 2 legs of the nuclear triad: ballistic missile silos and strategic bombers. The officials told CNN that the 6 service members were relieved of duty following the failed nuclear surety inspection of the base. The nuclear surety inspection is a pass-fail test, and the results are classified. Okay, well, the results can't be that classified if you're telling everybody that the base failed. This is bad journalism. All right. There is no indication that the failed inspection was related to the handling of a nuclear weapon itself. Another defense official said the failure was for non-compliance vehicle and safety equipment inspection. All right. Let me tell you, without going too far into stuff that I can't go into, you have equipment that is designated to handle nuclear weapons and nuclear weapon related material. The vehicle that handles nuclear weapons is nuclear weapon related material. Nuclear weapon related. You can't move a nuclear weapon without nuclear weapon related forklift. You can't move a nuclear weapon without a nuclear weapon related truck. It's got to be certified. It's got to be the right tool for the job. Colonel Vidal, Director of Public Affairs at the Air Force Global Strike Command, would not confirm the specific nature of the inspection. We have deliberate and disciplined inspection protocols, and we expect 100% compliance. Anything less than 100% compliance is unacceptable. It's that important to us. I will tell you right now that is a true statement. It is pass-fail. And in a lot of pass-fail situations, your driver's test is pass-fail. You either pass or you don't. You have some automatic failures. You run a red light on your driver's test. That's a fail. You blow a stop sign. That's a fail. You forget to put your seatbelt on. That's a fail. Those are go no-goes. The commander of the 5th Mission Support Group and the commander of the 5th Logistics Readiness Squadron were relieved of command. The Mission Support Group, consisting of 1,600 military and civilian personnel, is in charge of caring for the base facilities, infrastructure, and troops. No, that's not true. Oh, yes, the Mission Support Group is. Right. That is true. The Logistics Readiness Squadron is in charge of things like planning deployments and maintaining supply chains. Oh, dear sweet summer child who wrote this article. That is not what the Logistics Readiness Squadron does. It does. Here, I can help you out. Here is my coin for Logistics Readiness Squadrons. They handle vehicle maintenance, petroleum, oil, and lubricants, fuels. Operations, vehicle operations, traffic management office, logistics plans, supply, and that is what they do. They do a lot more than just planning deployments and managing supply chains. The doctrine of nuclear security is designed to check that the U.S. nuclear stockpile is safe, secure, and under positive control. Just so you guys know, that movie with Christian Slater and John Travolta, Broken Arrow, scares the shit out of me because there are actually terms for when we have a lost nuclear weapon. Isn't that a scary fucking thought? A lost nuclear weapon? The inspection tests the ability of different units to carry out their mission related to nuclear weapons, as well as the ability to handle and maintain nuclear weapons in the chain of command around strategic weapons. The exact circumstances surrounding the failed nuclear safety inspection might not remain unclear, but Air Force Global Strike Command made it clear in a statement Monday that the commanders were relieved due to a loss of confidence in their ability to complete their assigned duties. These personal actions were necessary to maintain the very high standards that we demand of those units entrusted with supporting our nation's nuclear mission. Major General Andrew J. Jabara, commander of the 8th Air Force, said. Jabara vowed that the 8th Air Force continues to safeguard global combat power and conduct around-the-clock strategic deterrence. This is not a first instance of failure of the nuclear surety inspection. In 2013, a nuclear missile unit at Maelstrom in Montana failed a safety and security inspection. Yeah. I'm gonna leave it at yeah, because I would need to make sure I had permission to share the other piece. So yeah, they failed in 2013. The wing received an unsatisfactory rating after making tactical level errors during one of several exercises conducted as part of the inspection. Nice. So, change, right? How many people think that the people that got shit canned were to blame? Versus how many people think the people who got shit canned were just blamed? See, one of the big things is, if you want me to be accountable to something, then I have to have the power and authority to change that something. And this was something 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I mean, you guys have heard me tell this story where I was told I'm only a lieutenant, fall on my sword, and I said no. And that caused me ripples in my career, except it also gained me kudos. I'm not falling on my sword because in 06 screwed up, and I'm in 02 and I'll be forgiven. I'm not falling on my sword for that. That's not going to happen. The problem I have with a lot of things is you're accountable for things you have no power to control. Like, Walmart knows me. They know me. They know me very well. The security at Walmart, I could probably walk out with the TV and they won't do anything, right? Because I've called the police on Walmart for false imprisonment, kidnapping, illegal detainment. I've called the police on Walmart. I don't give a shit. I hate Walmart. I love their prices. I hate their policies. I go into Walmart and you got one cashier. That's fine. I'm using the one cashier. I don't use the self-checkout. Fuck you. Something scans in wrong. You haven't trained me on how to use your self-checkout. Something scans in wrong and then I'm liable for it. No. The cashier can fuck up. My first time Kitchen Starter show. How's everyone doing today? Hey! Glad you could be here. Always like when people show up. This is the new time. Well, an hour ago was the new time for the Saturday show. But no, I saw somebody get arrested at the Walmart. Now, I get that there's people at the Walmart using like a fucking banana to scan a TV. I get that. That's bullshit. But I've seen people get arrested for shoplifting because they pick the wrong banana. They picked a non-organic banana instead of the organic ones, and Walmart sees them do that, calls the police. I was walking out of a Walmart once. I had bought a drink and a protein bar, a snack bar, or a candy bar, whatever the fuck it was. And while I'm walking out, I paid for it. When I had the receipt in my pocket, and I open up my candy bar, and as I'm walking out, I'm eating it. And some fucking security guard you can't do that. I can't do what? You can't eat that. Is there no eating in the store? There is. Okay, so why can't I do this? It's not yours. Hey, Slim, what's that thing back there called? A cash register. I said, no, it's not. What's it called? Is it a point of sale? Yeah. Ownership of the candy bar became mine when I exchanged money for goods and services. You can't do that. According to what? The law. Okay, Jumbo. I'm on my way. I tried to walk past him. He wouldn't let me go past him. I was like, dude, just fine. Fuck. I'll walk the cart back up to the fucking counter. I'll return all this food. I don't give a shit. He's like, I said, dude, I don't give a fuck about your company policies. I don't care about your company policies. I care about the law. This is my drink. This is my beverage. If the store has a no eating policy, that would be fine. But there's a fucking Subway right there. There's a Subway there. I could walk out of that Subway with a bag of chips and walk around your Walmart eating my bag of chips that I've already purchased at Subway. The guy literally wouldn't get out of my way. I said, dude, you got about 1 second, and then I'm calling the police. Good, call him. Right, 911. In the guy's face, I'm pretty sure he dropped some mud when he heard what I said. 911. Hi, I'm being kidnapped. I'm being forcibly detained. Oh, that'll get all the fucking units rolling to you right away. Yeah, there's a guy. He's probably about 375 pounds in a big yellow fucking Walmart shirt. Looks like goddamn Pikachu. Won't let me leave. I have my receipt. And then he starts freaking out. Bob to management, security to management. Cops rolled up. When the cops rolled up, they tried to talk to Walmart. I said, no. Me, guy in the hat. I called. I made the complaint. I'm the victim. Walked up. What's going on? He won't let me leave. He has physically obstructed my leaving. The cops looked at him. Did you physically stop him from leaving? No, I didn't physically stop him from leaving. There's 3 security cameras right here. He physically restrained me from leaving. He put his hands on me. He put his hands on my cart. He wouldn't let me leave. All of a sudden, the cops are like looking at him. Put your hands behind your back. You're going to jail. Cops don't want to deal with this bullshit either. The manager's like, what can we do to make this go away? You can train your employees on what they can and cannot do. You can call corporate and tell them your guy is going to jail today because either you didn't change and you didn't tell them they don't have the authority to stop people, or you can deal with it. I looked at the police officer. Can I be on my way? Yeah. Okay. Have a good day. I'm out of here. I have groceries. I got to get home. Well, we're going to need your report. That's great. I'm going to take my groceries home and then I'll come down to the station and I'll fill out a report. How about that? They said, sounds good. See, the problem is that you have a choice. You always have a choice. You have a choice to not put up with the bullshit. That's why the title of this show is True Fear Comes From Within. Everybody is afraid to make the world a better place. My wife went to her first school board meeting without me last week. This week, last week. My daughter is in a gifted program. My daughter is high-functioning autistic. Under the DSM-4, it would be Asperger's. Under the DSM-5, it's high-functioning autistic. My daughter is autistic, but she's also gifted. That's why it's called Asperger's. They want to cancel the gifted program because it's too much paperwork. You want to cancel a program that's great for the kids because it's too much paperwork. My wife went to the meeting because if I had gone to the meeting, I would have said, well, if it's too much paperwork, then let's start talking about all these administrators we have that I know don't have a full workday to do every day. Right? Oh, they changed. And then it was great. It was great to see school board members telling each other to shut up. So like, I think I'm going to go to the next school board meeting and be like, yeah, I would just like to speak to the behavior of the school board members last month. While my daughter was in attendance, you were telling each other to shut up. So from this point forward, if my daughter tells a teacher to shut up, she won't be punished. If my daughter tells a classmate to shut up, she won't be punished, because that's the behavior you modeled. When I'm on this show, I speak how I feel. I drop a lot of F-bombs, right? Because I keep it real. I don't want to be an academic effete son of a bitch up here. I could go get a haircut. I could go have a collared shirt on. Does the packaging change the message? To a lot of people, it does. But the truth is that nobody wants to make changes. Change is hard, man. Change is difficult. Change is rough. People don't want to change. Why do you want to change? Why do you want to go through that? Why do you want to go through the pain, the growth of change? Again, most people don't, because most people, they're in the pre-contemplation stage. No intention of changing their behavior. Contemplation stage. I'm aware of the problem, but no commitment to action. Sir Onsington was here. He shared, so I feel okay talking about it. He doesn't like something that happened at his job. But when I challenged him and said, well, go challenge them, no, it's not worth it. Why? Why is it not worth it to you? Why is 30 minutes a day not worth it to you? Because you know damn well if you were 30 minutes late for work, they'd write your ass up. And you know that. It was like somebody I know is at an at-will employment job. Somebody's at an at-will employment job. They happen to be at the right place at the right time with the right resume, and they just happened to have a resume when somebody was able to introduce them to a life changer. I say this, and I mean this with all sincerity. If you don't have your resume available for me all the time, you're failing. It is so easy for you to keep your resume on your phone, ready to airdrop that to somebody. It's so easy for you to have your resume on your phone, for you to email to somebody as an attachment. I'm going to teach you a trick to this. Create 5 or 6 or 7 or a dozen draft emails and save them. Subject, Jalan's resume. Email, signature block in it. The only thing you don't have in there is the to and the little bit. Hey, I'm looking for a musician. Hey, I'm a musician. What kind of music? Fantasy Tavern music. Holy shit, you make Fantasy Tavern music? Shoot me a resume. Oh, it takes 2, 3, 4 days for you to remember to send it. By that point, I've already contracted somebody else out. Right then and there. Open up your email on your phone. Open up your drafts. Hey, what's your email? What's your name again? Jalan? Jalan. Hey, Jalan. This is my resume. We're standing here talking. It's Saturday afternoon. Boom. Then when that person gets the email, they're going to be like, why is this person so informal? Oh, that's the Saturday afternoon guy. Hell yeah. Print resume. Even better. I mean, if you're job hunting, if you're looking for, if you hate your job and you're looking for upward mobility, old school, right? Man bag. Have your Pendaflex in your man bag. Have your resume in it. If you're looking for a job, what have I tried to teach people over the couple of years I've been doing this? Why the fuck are you walking around in the world without a notebook? Why are you walking around without a pen? Some of you are going to say because I have a tablet and a stylus. Okay, then that's fine. But you should always have something to take notes with. I take notes with my phone. I will tell you right now, it happened today as a talking point. I was talking to somebody, giving them goodness, giving them free shit. Free shit. I'm critiquing what I'm looking at. I'm looking at stuff. I'm giving you free shit and you're fumble fucking around because you don't have a notebook and pen. Think I got some notebooks? Think I got some notebooks? I am never anywhere without a notebook and a pen. Somebody wants to give me a name of a book, write that shit down. Somebody wants to give me free, hey, I noticed something in that, I noticed something on your webpage. Oh, things to do book. It shocks me how many people fail to prepare. The whole phrase is when you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail. It shocks the shit out of me that people aren't ready to fucking capture success. But anyway, I was with someone, they were in the right place, they were in the right time, and they had a resume. They're in an at-will employment state. It was a Thursday night. They were out talking, networking, was able to create an opportunity. They had the resume with them. It was an immediate fill position. The hiring authority said, you have the job. Said, when can I sign my contract? When can I sign my employment paperwork? Friday morning at 7:00. I can't work Friday morning. I got to go to my other job, but I'll be there at 7:00 to sign all the paperwork. They went to the new job at 7:00, signed all the paperwork, got onboarded a little bit, and then said, I'm going to go to my job and I'm going to let them know I'm done. The hiring job said, are you giving them 2 weeks notice? And the person said, are you going to hold the job for 2 weeks? And the hiring authority said no. Said, well then no, I'm not giving them 2 weeks. The question was, well, don't you think it's appropriate to give them 2 weeks notice? And they said it's an at-will employment state. They've reminded me of this every time they've done cuts at the company. I've survived all the rounds of layoffs, but they always remind us that this is an at-will employment state. If the company is going to continuously remind me it's an at-will employment state, then I don't owe them 2 weeks notice. The hiring authority at the new job said, I can respect that. I just want to let you know, unless you do something egregious, we give 2 weeks severance to everybody. But we don't get rid of a lot of people. We don't get rid of a lot of positions. We like to move people around in-house. Friend went to their now old job, walked in and said, today's my last day. You're not giving us 2 weeks notice? No. I have an opportunity that will not be there in 2 weeks. The opportunity is sink or swim, feast or famine. I have to take it today or I lose the ability. Well, we're gonna be lost without you. It's really not appropriate for you to not give us 2 weeks notice. Friend said, if I was that fucking valuable to you, you would have been paying me a whole lot better. If I was that valuable to you, finding a new job wouldn't have crossed my mind. You guys know at the end of last year, I was saying change. What do I say? You got 3 in every situation in life. In every single situation in life, it boils down to 3 tactical options. You can accept it, you can change it, or you can leave. That's it. Notice that I said you can accept it, you can change it, or you can leave, but I didn't say you can complain about it. Complaining about the problem is pointless. Yeah, all the P's. Prior planning prevents piss poor performance. I like proper planning prevents poor performance. I like the 5 P's. You can keep adding P's to it all day. But the trick to it is, if you know what you're worth, then go out and get what you're worth. But you're not going to get it without change. And change is hard. And people get comfortable. To pop back over here, what stops a lot of people from change, you'll notice this is a wheel, right? You see that it's a wheel. It's not like a destination. You notice that after maintenance, you have relapses, and relapses take you back to, well, is it a problem? If you're happy with your job, you're not looking. Accept it. I accept it. I'm happy with my job. I accept it. I'm unhappy with my job. Sir Onsington was here earlier and he was talking about it. I'm unhappy with my job. Well, I don't want to accept it, so I'm going to change it. Hey, boss, I don't like this. Can we change it? Well, if you can't accept it and you can't change it, your only other option is to leave. That's it. I'm going to find a new job. Now, silly ass thing I see people do. I'm loyal to my company. I'm loyal to my company. I'm loyal to my job. Why? Why are you loyal to your job? Why are you loyal to your company? Is it your company? I am infinitely loyal to Paradox Gaming Network Incorporated. I'll be loyal to you when your ass makes me a partner. Exactly, because then it's your business. You're a partner. You're a partner. I worked for somebody. I worked for an organization. I worked my ass off. I worked my ass off for them. And they screwed me on the payday. And I'll tell you how much I don't give a fuck. I contacted the client direct. And I said, I just want to let you know that I will no longer be the individual that you're interfacing with at blah, blah, blah. And they said, why? I said, unfortunately, I can't go into details. However, I will no longer be at blah, blah, blah organization. And they kind of put the nuts and bolts together. They said, would you like to onboard with us and do the same job you were doing for them? Just now you'll be a buyer's agent instead of a seller's agent. I said, sure. The look on my old boss's face when I literally walked in, what are you doing here? You don't work here anymore. You're right. I don't work here anymore. Kind of uncomfortable silence. I'm the buyer's agent now. I work for the buyer. By the way, did you ever pay out the commissions to your seller's agents? No? Oh. Drop the contract 13%. Get this look of fucking horror. What do you mean? Oh, the deal that we signed with you included the seller's agent getting a commission. If you didn't pay the seller's agent, if you didn't pay the salesperson the commission, then we're not paying you that 13%. My new boss is sitting there laughing, like literally giggling. Well, I don't understand. Look, I'm gonna spell it out for you in crayon. I'm getting my 13 fucking percent, one way or the other. You could have paid me my 13%, and then we wouldn't have a problem. But if you didn't pay me my 13%, I know you didn't pay me the 13%. We're taking 13% off the contract. So then I'm gonna go to my new boss and I'm gonna say, hey, I saved 13% on this deal. Can I get paid, please? It's like, arf, I got you, you know? Never forget, unless you are signing the paychecks, you're being paid by somebody is giving you a fair wage for your hours, your life, your time. And then, like I said, yeah, fuck with me, I'll fuck with you. Exactly. I'm gonna get paid. I'm gonna get mine. Because I'm the kind of guy that'll burn this shit to the ground before I get screwed. And more people need to live like that. See, the reason why there are so many bad actors in the world, is nobody challenges them. I tell my real estate agents, I said, please don't follow me around the house, telling me about the house, commenting about the house. I only want you to point out the negative stuff. And my real estate agent, and I usually work with one real estate agent in an area because they start to know the houses and then they call me. They're like, I saw the perfect house. Perfect. Let's look at it. I'll get real estate agents that'll call me and be like, I still have 45 minutes left on a showing block. Do you want to come and look at it? I'll be like, I'll be there in 10. I tell my real estate agents, please don't comment about how nice something looks. I know how nice it looks. I'm looking at it. I want you to tell me, hey, the paperwork here says this house flooded. Nope, not interested. Let's get the fuck out. This paperwork here says the house flooded, but it was completely renovated, including all the subfloors. Oh, really? It's good stuff. I'm buying a house. You're not selling a house. The only house you're selling is mine when I give you my house to sell. But this is the problem. People just sit there and they take it. People are afraid. Like, I don't want to be offensive. Why don't you want to? My real estate agent works for me. I explained to a real estate agent once. Real estate agent got kind of like this towards me. And I stopped because I normally wear dark glasses. I took off my glasses. And I said, you're going to make $9,000 off me, plus whatever you pay to the house, the brokerage house. You work for me. And I had a real estate agent who, when I said that, said, I don't work for you. Okay, then we're done here. And I grabbed my shit and what do you mean? We're done. If you don't work for me, we're fucking done here. I will go find somebody who understands the power and control of this relationship. You do the paperwork on a house when I tell you to do the paperwork on the house. That's what you do. It's like I told you guys the house that I was gonna buy about 3.5 months ago. I think it was just before Thanksgiving. My wife really loved the house. She loved the house. The real estate agent could hear it in my wife's voice how much she loved the house. I don't love houses. I view houses as an investment. I don't love the house. It's fucking, you guys remember how ugly this room was before I made it look nice. This is a couple of $100, well, probably $1,000 worth of bric-a-brac, and these are my memories. Just a couple of shower curtains, a couple of shelves, made the room look nice. The paint in here is this awful, horrible gray. But my wife really loved the house. And so the real estate agent starts telling me how I should do my bid or how I should do my offer. Said, you want me to get involved in a suicide bid, an uncapped auto-escalating bid? The only person that benefits is you. I said, I'll put a full market value, a contingent on a inspection. But they don't want that. That's it. My real estate agent was like, well, I really don't want to write that up because I don't think that bid's going to be accepted. You are legally required to write up a full market value bid. Just write it up. And then she got fired after that weekend. Because after that weekend, she says, well, we need to talk about you putting in bids that aren't going to be accepted. And I said, no, we don't need to talk about that. You're fired. And she's like, what do you mean I'm fired? I'm not working with you anymore. Why would I ever want to get in? If you guys don't know what an automatic suicide bid is the house was $300,000. The house was $299,900. And there's this new thing in real estate, which I think is dumb, where you put in your offer, I'm putting in a full market value, but if somebody else puts in a full market value, I will trump that by $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, not to exceed $350,000. The two people that got into a bidding war, literally their bids all the way up to 350, because each bid automatically re-upped itself. The buyer ended up really wanting the house. They paid $351,000, right? $351,000. The house went up from $300,000 to $351,000 automatically in less than 2 minutes, because each bid that hit was automatic. Yeah, fuck that. I'll put my bids in by hand. I don't understand why anybody would ever put in more than a full market value for the house. Brings me to a whole different subject that I want to talk about at some point. Real estate appraisals are all bullshit. If you guys aren't aware of this, real estate appraisals are bullshit. Real estate appraisals are bullshit. If I'm putting in an offer for $300,000 on that house, unless there is something that's specific, or let me not say 300,000. If I'm putting in a bid for $297,000 for that house, that that house is going to appraise for $297,000. If I put in a $299,000 bid on that house, that house is going to appraise for $299,000. That house is going to appraise for whatever dollar amount until it doesn't. That same house could be 289, 295, 300, 315, 335. But if the guy doing the appraisal says at 336, nope. So the same guy could do the same appraisal on a house and get 250, 290, 320, and then 321 he says, nope, it's not 321. Well, what the fuck is that? Shouldn't the appraisal be what the house is worth? This house is worth $328,000. That's what it's worth. It's like, I just got that crazy automatic. Now I guess the new big thing is your bank and your credit cards and all that. They tell you how much your house is worth. Okay. They tell me my house is worth $238,000 now. My house isn't worth $238,000. I paid $175 for it 7 years ago. There's no way. And when I say there's no way, there is no way. Right? There is no way. And I really, 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 really hate when they're confusing people. Right? There is no way my house value went up by 36% in 7 years. There's no way. My house probably needs $40,000 worth of work thanks to Piddles, but my house didn't go up by 36%. When the Boeing factory or the Boeing facility finishes, maybe, right? Maybe. But at the end of the day, this is all a big sham. It's all a big scam. But it's because, again, I couldn't think of a title for my podcast. And I titled my podcast, True Fear Comes From Within. Because everybody's afraid. Everybody wants to complain. If you're spending more than 2 minutes on any given day complaining about any given topic, change it. Change it. Which is why today I put up Prochaska, and it's either Procheski or Prochaska. These psychologists and sociologists have weird names. And DiClemente. The cycle of change. We don't even, and it shocks me, man. We don't teach people in school how to think about change. Somebody said not all change is good. Not all change is good. Change is scary, right? Change is scary. But we don't teach kids. We don't teach young adults. We don't teach people how to face change. We just assume people are going to figure out how to change. What do we teach kids in school? You guys know I have an entire podcast on school reform, things I would do differently. We don't teach kids what now that I'm seeing a second generation of kids, not my own generation, because obviously I had my generation, there was a generation after me, and now I'm looking at the second generation after me coming out of high school. I am shocked to shit that this world doesn't get burned down on a daily basis. I am shocked to shit that this world doesn't get burned down, considering the quality of the people we got coming out. Like, everybody dumb fucks something now and then, right? Everybody dumb fucks something. But these kids are just abusing the privilege. We've got, I don't want to pick on the barista who, and I don't think his orientation, his affiliation with the LGBTQII2SAA plus had anything to do with it. But if you remember, a couple of months ago, there was a Starbucks barista who was sitting in the back room making a TikTok crying about how he was scheduled for back-to-back days on the weekend for 8.5 hours a day. And people defended his... Starbucks is a horrible employer. So which one is it? Starbucks is horrible when they give you 32 hours a week, or Starbucks is horrible when they don't give you enough hours? Which one is it? Because Unless you're making me work more than 40 hours a week, thank you. You gave me an 8.5 hour day. Thank you. Because what's worse, an 8.5 hour day, or when you have a job that you only get 6 hours at? Fuck, if you're going to make me get up, get dressed, shower, put a uniform on, give me 8 hours that day. Give me 12 hours that day. If I'm going to get 36 hours in a week, I would rather work 3 12s and then not see anybody here for 4 days. Can we go back to not seeing all of you for 4 days? I will work Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, 12-hour shifts. Won't even complain about it. Give me 36 hours a week. That way I can have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. No. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'll work 36 hours a week for you. Boom, boom, boom. That way I can have, I can either work another job, 36 hours or 36 hours a week at another job, or I can have my side hustle, right? I know people that are trying to be streamers and they're complaining that they get 2 or 3 long shifts a week. It interferes with my schedule. So tell your boss you'll work Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 12-hour shifts, and then stream the other days. I say this stuff. I don't understand the current generation. All my students this week, I'm like, yeah, I'm 43 and I'm retired. I'm 43 and I'm retired the second time. I'm 43, I'm retired the second time, and I've been retired for 7 years. They're looking at me like, wait, what? What do you mean? 6 years. Been retired 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. It's my 7th year in retirement. And they're like, how did you do it? Had a guy today talking about how he 5 hours, after 5 hours, I can't really concentrate at work after 5 hours. What? Is there something wrong with you? What do you mean? Do you have a mental health disorder? No. Have you been to the doctor to get diagnosed to see if you have one? No. Are you anemic? No. Do you have any health conditions? No. You can only work a 5-hour day? Yeah. Even if you worked every single day and never took a day off, that doesn't get you, right? That doesn't get you to your work hours, right? There's 2,080 work hours in a year. If you work every day of the year, 5 hours a day, that only gets you to 1,825. You're still missing 255 work hours. You'd need another 51 days. I don't get it. Does anybody here get it? Maybe I got some younger people in the audience, and you can sort of start to fill in the blanks for me why so many people are just unwilling or unable to work 40 hours a week. Now, I will say this. I'm a huge proponent of the 4-day work week. I'm a huge fan of the 4-day work week, right? I'm a huge fan of the 3.5 day flex time work week, but I'm a huge fan of 410s. I love 410s, right? I love 410s. It could make sense, to be honest. Some works you cannot work them for long periods of time. Really, what? What works can you not work for a long period of time? Shit, I know surgeons that work for 24 straight hours. I know anesthesiologists that work for 12, 16 straight hours. Underwater soldering, for example. Underwater soldering, you can work for long periods of time. The reason you don't work for long periods of time in underwater soldering is because every time you work in underwater welding, you're rolling the fucking dice. They don't stop working because they have to. They stop working because they feel unlucky and they've made a shit ton of money. You're literally asking people, underwater welding, you're literally asking people who are in an oxygen-filled bubble in order to be able to do the welding to not accidentally nick the bubble, because if they do, they're going to blow themselves up. They can work long periods. They do work long periods of time. In fact, underwater welders work ridiculous lengths of hours when they work, but they have to come up, and they have long periods of time between work shifts, between work cycles. But when they're down there, they are working the fuck out of their life, because they are task orientated, and they are time on task, and they have X amount of time to get X amount of task done. People stop doing underwater welding because they've made enough money. But when they're down there, when they've already been pressurized, they've done the slow descent, they're at the working level, they don't come all the way to the surface. They come up just enough so that the other thing can come down and send them food and stuff. But they stay at a pressurized level for periods of time. But that's a different style. Those people make enough money and then they fuck off with their income because it's dangerous work. It's not that you can't do that work forever, right? I'd say pressure change in the pipe is more dangerous. Being sucked into a pea-sized hole doesn't sound fun. Right. The thing is, there's nothing that stops you from doing that job. It's Russian roulette. Russian roulette, you have a 1 in 6 chance. You'll get a lot of people that'll pull once. You get a lot of people that'll pull twice. Not too many people are too keen on pulling 3 times. Right? It's the odds are against you. You don't want to do those jobs because they're dangerous. I've successfully done this 30 times. I have a big fucking pile of money. Let me go do something way less stressful. Let me go do something way less intense. EOD guys. I had a EOD friend who literally fucked up, and the shit blew up right in front of them, and they got so lucky because it didn't go through the suit. They completely fucked up on their disarm. Now, again, it was one of those situations where they had to attempt to disarm because they couldn't risk moving. EOD guys, it's not like the movies. They're not constantly out there with 3 seconds left cutting the red wire. Most of the time, if they can move it, they'll move it and they'll blow it up later. If they can render it safe, they'll destroy it later. If they can't move it, they can't render it safe, they'll try to put the big iron dome over it and they'll just blow it up in place and minimize the damage. If they can't do any of the above, they try to disarm it. But only, remember, EOD doesn't give a shit about saving a building. They give a shit about saving lives. We've got 3 minutes and evacuation's going to take 20. Well, we're going to do our best because we can't evacuate the building in 3 minutes. We're going to try. Sometimes they get it right. Sometimes they get it wrong. Those guys do that for 20, 25, 27 years. Could you imagine that? What'd you do your whole life? I disarmed bombs. How many times did you get it wrong? Well, never so wrong that I lost. I never lost permanently. Shit scares me every last Thursday of the month. They blow up. Hope they're paid well for the risk. They're not. Not military EOD. They get paid. Okay. So when I was applying, when I took my ASVAB, I'm a fucking astronaut, right? Any job in the Air Force. I got my ASVAB results back and it was literally any job in the Air Force. And my recruiter was like, I love people like you. What do you want to do? And he's telling me about EOD. And I was like, okay. I said, EOD sounds interesting. And then on the same page as EOD, because it was on his bonuses page, I was like, hey, what's this bioequipment maintenance repair technician job? And he's like, I don't know. I've never sent anybody to that job. I was like, well, it pays the same bonus as EOD. He looks and he says, yes, it does. I said, I'll take the job that doesn't involve me getting blown up for 500. Thanks, Alex. I thought they always just detonate it remotely. No, it depends. It depends on, can they disarm? Can they move? Can they relocate? Can they render it safe? There's a lot of variables. I don't even know all the variables. It's just from my time of eating lunch with those guys or talking to those guys. You know, you can't always move something. Sometimes you have to, I mean, you've got something wired into the gas main. They'll shut the gas off, but they don't really want you to blow up. Like, we want to detonate it remotely. Yeah, that's going to like do $27 million worth of damage to the building. Okay. Then they send in the bomb robot. And if the bomb robot can do his job, they do that. Sometimes a guy or a girl has to go in there and do it. I knew an EOD technician who lost her slot in EOD school for the dumbest shit. And this is why I was so driven to become a commander in the Air Force, because I wanted to make sure that my people never dealt with dumb shit. There was a girl in EOD who had graduated the class. She was done. She was awaiting award of her Air Force specialty code. She happened to have to wait because they were waiting for graduation. She came to PT one day and she had pulled her hair in a ponytail. And behind her ears, she had tattoos. She had failed to disclose those tattoos prior to joining the service because they were above her neckline. She had other tattoos. When you join the military, if you have questionable tattoos, they take a photograph of your tattoo. It's documented, and then somebody has said, yes, this is good. No, this isn't. Yes, you can enter with it. No, you can't. Yes, you can enter with it, and we want you so much. After all your training, we're going to remove it. There's lots of scenarios. It just gets documented. She had other tattoos that were documented, and she had little dragons behind her ears because they weren't properly documented. They denied her the right to be awarded a AFSC for EOD. I met her, heard her story, and I said, there's some fucking sexism there. They just didn't want a female EOD technician. Ribeye steak fries, and whiskey sauce with some Jalan. Does a Saturday get any better? I had a cast iron chicken with almond, lettuce, carrot, and mustard wrap that I made. Tonight we're either doing, I don't know what we're doing. Was the tattoo that outrageous? No, they were just little dragons behind her ears. Mind explaining why that was a thing? Because she didn't disclose them. Again, that story infuriated me so much that when I became an officer, I didn't allow. See, I'm what you call a pain in the ass, right? I'm what you call a pain in the ass because I don't like stupid. I have a whole, well, I've shredded them. I had a whole binder full of reprimands from both being an NCO and an officer of times that I had gotten out of bounds. I, on more than one occasion, said to a superior officer, that's really fucking stupid. Because I was hot and I was heated and I was passionate for my people. Do tattoos cause any alterations or issues that warrant such treatment towards tattoos above the neck? Well, in the Air Force, I'm not sure if any branch of service can have tattoos above the neck. It's because of your dress and appearance, and deportment while in dress uniform. I know, as far as I'm aware, it's still from here up and here, no tattoos. You can't have tattoos on your hands, or your face or your neck, because when you're in the uniform, then you always have to be able to wear your full dress uniform, and tattoos aren't authorized in full dress uniform. Now, again, I've been out for 7 years, and I know the Army and the Navy had some exceptions. Oddly enough, the Marine Corps is pretty rigid about no tattoos, hands or face or neck. And it's another one of those things where I don't get down on this philosophy, but I understand the philosophy behind it. What they say is that if you're willing to lie on your paperwork to get into the military, what else are you willing to lie about? She didn't lie about it. She was distraught about it. She'd forgotten about the dragons behind her ears. Had she not pulled her hair up, they never would have noticed. She just happened to pull her hair into a ponytail and somebody noticed. It is what it is. I do understand the idea of honesty. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I miscalculated my water consumption. I forget to remember that tattoo I don't see unless I'm bald and I'm looking in the mirror. I mean, I know a lot of people that, believe it or not, have forgotten the details of a tattoo. Like 25 years ago, they put some letters or some characters into a tattoo and now they've forgotten about them. They're like, oh yeah, I did do that. I know people that they've got a tattoo and they did a cover up, and then as they age, you can see some of the under tattoo, and then they don't want to have to explain it. But no, these are the things. This is why, see, I do this podcast every week because I care about the force multiplication. I care about the change on a magnitude scale. And what I mean by that is I don't have to change the whole world. I just have to change 3 or 4 people. And if those 3 or 4 people change 3 or 4 people, and then those 3 or 4 people change 3 or 4 people, pretty soon we got people doing this crazy thing called thinking. I wanted to close today's show, and if you guys have anything, jump on in. I wanted to close today's show with Andrew Tate. I want to close today's show with Andrew Tate because Andrew Tate is an incredibly dangerous individual. He's an incredibly dangerous individual because he resonates with a very vulnerable class, young men. Young men are so lost, right? Young men are so lost. You never understood tattoos. Every time I want to get one, I hesitate when I remember it's permanent and it can't really be removed. It can be faded to tattoo over it. Tattoos can be completely removed. But the thing I will tell you is before you ever get a tattoo, get a fake tattoo of exactly what you want. There's lots of places online you can get it. Wear it for a month before you ever get it inked. I'm going for my first one, hopefully this week. I'm gonna go get my Father of Nightmares one. Hopefully that's my goal this week. My goal is to get it this week. But no, Andrew Tate, very dangerous individual. The reason why he's a very dangerous individual is he says the right things. So he says the right things to the right group of people. I know I might offend 8 of you right now. There is a reason why Donald Trump was a great thing for America. For a 4-year experiment, he was great for America. I was hoping that it would wake America up and we would get an actual statesman after Donald Trump. I like some of the interviews with Donald Trump. I don't know how much of them are true or how much of them are not. But I like when he got interviewed and he was talking about the Taliban. And he said, he gets asked the question about being on the phone with the leader of the Taliban. And he said to the leader of the Taliban, he said, I've just sent you an image. And the leader of the Taliban got the image and he says, "Why are you sending me a picture of my house?" And Donald Trump says, "Well, I'm going to let you figure that out." And Donald Trump says, from that point on, we didn't lose one American in Afghanistan. Donald Trump is exactly what the country needed for 4 years. It's exactly what the country needed. It was a wake-up call. It was a bell ring. Sometimes in order to inspire change, right? To inspire change, you are aware of the problem, but with no commitment to action, right? You're aware of a problem. Not what America deserved, but what it needed. Right. See, a person like me should be president. Because the truth of the matter is, I think half of what goes on is total bullshit. But see, the problem is it's the cost. It's the profitability of the process. I think lobbyists should be illegal. I think to be a professional lobbyist should be against the law. But I'm so appalled at watching. I'm so tired of having border patrol agents have to go to Washington, leadership in the border patrol having to appear before Congress, and then the border patrol being, well, you separated women from their children. What do you want us to do? I want to send them back. I want to deny them entry. Do you think Mexico wants all the illegals detained in Mexico? No. Mexico doesn't want all the illegals detained in Mexico. But then my response to that is, fine, too bad. You have a southern border too. If you don't want them getting stuck in your country because they're denied entry into the United States, stop them at your southern border. You have some border control. But I am so tired of the whole fucked up situation. They are illegal aliens. They are illegal. They have no legal right to be here. And instead of Congress figuring out a way to stop the crime from happening, they want to yell at the Border Patrol people for them doing what the book says for them to do. I don't know why people act as if Biden is any better. Most politicians suck, and the ones that are indeed good or honest don't end up climbing the ladder. I can't even motivate myself to vote. Choosing between two bad options isn't appealing. Okay, then don't choose between two bad options. Vote for Jalan. Write in Jalan as a vote. Maybe I get 100, maybe I get 1,000 votes next time. See, you're absolutely right. And you guys know I have an entire video on statesmen versus politicians. You're absolutely right. People act as if Biden is any better. No, they don't. People don't act as if Biden is any better. People act that a Democrat is better. Because we won. The Democrats won. We won. You didn't win shit. Where's your I won prize? Where's your I won prize? We're sending billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars to the Ukraine. I would have short-circuited that in advance. Do I want to send billions and billions and billions in aid to the Ukraine? Or do I want to do a joint exercise between the US military and the Ukraine military and just so happen to put it on the border between Russia and the Ukraine? We're just going to do an FTX out here. We're going to build FTX Scorpion's Nest. We're going to have a bunch of American GIs on the border. Looks like some Russian tanks are coming. Don't worry, those sons of bitches are going to stop at their border. You think Russia would have had the big ball sack to kill American soldiers? Yep, they stopped. Wait, did they stop or are they out of gas? I don't know. Doesn't matter. They're not in the Ukraine. You could have put about 5,000 US troops in a field training exercise on the border. And Russia would have been like, we'll wait. And be like, okay, well, we'll wait too. Wait, what? Yeah, but 6-month rotation, right? Is that before or after the Russian land grab? Well, first of all, if we go all the way back in time, the United States should have interceded before Crimea got seized by Russia. Is it any shock that he's trying it again? And is there any shock to anybody why he didn't do it while Trump was in office? Some people say, oh, Trump was Putin's boy. You couldn't be further from the truth. If Trump was Putin's boy, he would have invaded the Ukraine while Trump was in office. Trump was like, fucking try me. Get some. Worked once, might as well go for the electric boogaloo. You're right. But this is how it is, right? If you want to have a country that doesn't have to put up with everybody else's shit, then you got to have a president like Trump. China's boasting that they have the largest navy in the world, right? China is boasting they have the largest navy in the world. The United States, China, you have 827,000 tons. We have 3.2 million. Fucking get some. The United States, when it comes to war, what can the United States say? We have the first and second largest air forces in the world. I'm going to say that to you again, just so you can hear it. The United States has the first and second largest air forces in the world. The United States Air Force is huge. The United States Navy is fucking huge. The United States Navy's Air Force is fucking huge. The United States Navy has more aerial combat vehicles than the Air Force does. But we have fucking bombers. I know that the F-35 is a badass piece of technology, and the Navy has a lot of them. The Navy's got a whole fucking ton of them. The Navy doesn't know how to retire shit. Then you notice that none of the Navy's fighters were ever talked about, like the A-10. The Army's at risk of losing the A-10. The fucking Navy's like, nope, we don't retire aircraft. We will retire them when they can't fly anymore, and we will only retire that tail number, not the whole production line. The Navy's like, yep. Now, when people ask, why do we have an Air Force? Because the Air Force's biggest mission is air mobility. Cargo movement, aeromedical evacuation, personnel movement. We have an entire command called Air Mobility Command. We have an entire command in the Air Force that has no fighters, that has no bombers, that has no combat aircraft. And they have a fucking metric fuck ton of tonnage in tails. The Navy's crazy. The Navy is the Steve Irwin of the militaries in the whole world. The United States Navy is the Steve Irwins. It's a dangerous animal. I'm gonna poke it. That's the Navy. The Navy's like, poke. Fuck you, poke. The Navy had a couple of pilots engage some Iranian F-4 Phantoms. And they were like, you should go home now. Trump told Germany, if you don't stop relying on Russian gas, you'll be hurt very soon, and they laughed at him. Yep. Trump even warned NATO to stop relying on, or to warn NATO and the EU to get their ass in gear because Putin was just waiting for the perfect opportunity. Yep. What's gutting EU and NATO is this new anti-weaponization craze, expecting Russia to be kind if you don't prepare your armies for defense. And to close this up, you're absolutely right. Okay? What's absolutely right is that why does nobody fuck with the United States? Because what the fuck did we do to the last 2 countries, 3 countries, 4 countries, 5 countries that got out of line with us? We didn't start shit. What'd we do? We finished shit. Don't fuck with the kid with the big stick. Don't fuck with the country that can literally say this. All these terrorist organizations. And one day we will have nuclear weapons. Bitch, we have those weapons. And we fucking used them. Twice. I'm gonna let you guys know that the United States' arsenal, we have shit scarier than nuclear weapons. We have shit scarier than nukes. That should keep you awake for 15 minutes tonight. When you're laying down tonight, you should be like, they have shit scarier than nukes. We have shit scarier than nukes. We have all of the fucking charring capacity with none of the fucking fallout. If you want a really good, look up a fuel to air bomb. Look up how fucked a fuel to air bomb is. No, we don't have bioweapons. We don't have biological weapons. We don't have biological weapons. Biological weapons are a big fucking no-no. Bioweapons are a big fucking no-no. But we do have bombs that we can drop in the area that resonate such a high-pitched sound that human beings can't stay. They have to leave. Or basically their brain melts. And then we click, click, turn them off and roll in, and all the technology's in place. Nukes aren't the strongest. It's just the fact that you render an area uninhabitable for a long time that makes it scary, and the fact that everyone loses because of it. Right. And that's what I'm telling you. A fuel to air bomb will fuck up everything. Right? A fuel to air bomb will fuck up everything in an area with none of the fallout. Just remember that. And just remember, you're never fucking safe because we have MOABs. Only the United States. Only the United States would create a weapon called the Massive Ordnance Air Blast. Massive Ordnance Air Blast. It's also called the MOAB. It's the mother of all bombs. It's a GBU 43/B. It's a personal favorite of mine. We will fuck your existence up, right? Didn't Russia like to flex its hypersonic missile? First of all, hypersonic missiles, I'm pretty sure every missile in the United States air-to-air arsenal is a hypersonic weapon. I'm pretty sure our weapons are all capable of that speed. I really kind of laughed at the whole Russian technology thing. Russia just made a statement, this week, or was it last week, where they said, we have the ability to produce more equipment than you can destroy. First of all, no. Second of all, if you guys aren't aware of this, because we're aware of what happens when we keep shooting down the same people, most of the time when you get hit with an American air-to-air missile, the pilot dies. The pilot dies because of how our weapons hit. We don't shoot people from behind anymore because they can't see us. We get on their nose. So when you fire a missile at their nose, what does it normally collide with? The cockpit. I'm just saying. So for anybody that's actually, because I've actually had Americans tell me they're afraid of the Russian war. You have zero to fear about the Russian war. Well, Russia has nukes. Russia's nuclear arsenal is so antiquated and so poorly maintained. In the United States, we have a theory that if we give the order to fire 10 missiles, seven will be fired. The pilots that have to turn the keys, they assume 30% of the pilots won't turn the keys. Of the remaining 7 missiles, 1 will fail to launch, leaving 6. Of the 6 that get airborne, 3 will get lost. I know, it's pretty fucking scary, but 3 of the missiles are going to get lost. 3 are still going to hit their targets. The 3 that get lost, we don't know what the fuck they're going to hit. They're going to hit an enemy target, just not the one we were aiming for. It's not like they're going to come back down on top of us. Russia is about 1 out of 10 will launch. And we have 7 different missile defense systems? Russia knows this. We know this. They know this. China is the dangerous one because China has more ICBMs. And their shit's new. Their shit's dangerous. Everyone's worried about Russia. Don't be worried about Russia. Be worried about China. Anyway, change and choice. Remember, you always have the choice to change. Only you can change you. You have to be the change you want to be. Remember, this show is now at 3 o'clock Eastern, 3 to 5 on Saturdays. If that time doesn't work, I'm going to mix it up. And if it doesn't work, it looks like it worked. We got up to 15, 16 people today. Thank you for being here. Remember, next week, Mondays and Wednesdays, 10 o'clock Eastern till 2 o'clock Eastern for the gaming channel. And now we're only on Twitch. This show is only on Twitch now. I've taken it off of YouTube. I will upload this VOD to YouTube. You guys take care. I will see you Monday.